This is Rose Sally Holmes, and you're looking at one of my favorite plants. This photo that you're going to be looking at is on the front of my house, and it's a rose that in my area, even though we get in high 20s most years, stays fairly green, even in the winter. So that's why I'm willing to put it on the front of a house. So let's talk about deadheading this. I'm looking at the plant's finished a big bloom flush like you saw in those photos, and now I want to get the next bloom cycle going. So I'm coming in and I'm deadheading. Um, and for those of you who aren't familiar with the term, deadheading is as simple as it sounds. You're removing dead flower heads on plants that don't do that on their own. Some plants self-clean, but roses are not one of those plants. So where I'm cutting these is a good 6 to 12 inches back into the foliage mass. When I've got something trained on the side of a building or a wall or a fence like this, I like to cut down deep into the foliage mass so that the cut doesn't show, and also on a nice thick branch so the new cut, when that bud divides and starts to push again, has enough support to support a nice large blossom or blooming stem after that cut. So what I'm doing is starting on the lower part of the plant and just selectively going in. You see me reaching in here and finding the cut point. Now it's not that fancy, don't have to get too fancy about this. It's not like hybrid teas where you need to cut at a certain spot 4 leaves back or any of that behind the flower head. This is more to find in the right part of the plant where you want to cut. And so I have a system here. I like to start on the lower half of the plant and then work my way up so that these stems aren't poking me in the face and making my life miserable. So I'm just working my way across the front of the plant and getting the ones that are down and easy to reach. As I get deeper into it, then I'm going to get the pole pruner out that you saw. That's a great tool if you have any taller plants, especially like a climbing rose that's thorny. What it allows you to do is reach up and prune the plant at a higher elevation without having to get a ladder. And that pole pruner is aluminum, very lightweight, about 6 feet long, and the pruning shear on the end of it is the same size as a pair of hand pruners. So they're very, very effective for something like this where the stems are less than 1.5 inches so, or thick or so. So I'm just working my way around the edge now, and now I'm starting to roll up the side now. Um, I also recommend that you feed these. If you've got a plant like this, Sally Holmes rose, they bloom a lot, and because of that, they consume a lot of food. So you want to use like a rose food or something like that that's going to give these the food they need to push another flush of blossoms like you saw in the lead-in photo. So now I'm going to the pole pruner so I can get up and detail the top of this plant. You see how the plant is a good 18 inches to 2 feet lower than the eave of the house, and that allows room for the new blooming stems to push out and not get too jammed up underneath the eave of the house. You may even want to go lower to where you give yourself a good 3 feet. Most of the blooms want to occur at the top of the plant, and so by giving it that extra room, you're assuring that they won't get jammed up under the eave of the house. And that's how we deadhead a Rose Sally Holmes and get it ready for the next bloom.